Mr. Nick, Mr. Nick, he's our pick. It's Mr. Nick. Yay!
Hey everybody, welcome to the Mr. Nick Show, and I'm your host, Mr. Nick. Today, we are going to be talking about two of my favorite topics, the ABCs and dinosaurs. For each letter of the alphabet, we are going to talk about a dinosaur that starts with that letter. The first letter of the alphabet is A, and a dinosaur that starts with A is an Ankylosaurus. An Ankylosaurus is known for having a big, tough, strong armor on its body. Look at all those spikes and a big club on the end of its tail to help protect itself and fight off other dinosaurs that might try to eat it. I would not want to get hit by that tail. No, thank you. The next letter in the alphabet is B, and a dinosaur that starts with B is a Brachiosaurus. A Brachiosaurus could be up to 70 feet tall. Whoa, that's so tall. Take a look at that long neck. Having such a long neck probably helped it eat out of trees very easily. And a Brachiosaurus fossils were first found in Colorado in the United States. Wow, that's pretty close to home for me. Pretty cool. The next letter in the alphabet is C, and a dinosaur that starts with the letter C is the Celophysis. The Celophysis is pretty small compared to a lot of dinosaurs, but it was still about 10 feet tall. That's really tall compared to humans. They're fast and have sharp teeth, so that means that they are good at hunting for food, but also good at getting away from others who wanted to eat them. That is a Celophysis. The next letter in the alphabet is D, and a dinosaur that starts with the letter D is a Diplodocus. A Diplodocus looks a lot like the Brachiosaurus, but it does have some pretty unique differences. It's got a much longer tail that was kind of like a whip, and it also was not very good at chewing, so it would have to swallow rocks to help mash up the food in the stomach. Could you imagine swallowing rocks? Ouch! That is a Diplodocus. The next letter in the alphabet is E, and a dinosaur that's name started with E is a Epidendrosaurus. Look at this guy. It looks like he has fur or feathers maybe. And look at those long fingers. It almost looks like those should be wings, but he has no feathers on them. This guy looks like he was part bird, part reptile. He would use those long fingers to dig into trees and holes for animals, for bugs, for food. A very strange looking guy. That's an Epidendrosaurus. The next letter in the alphabet is F, and a dinosaur that started with the letter F is a Fruitidens. This is another dinosaur whose fossils were first discovered in what is now Colorado. It looks like he has some fur on his back. Now this was a very small dinosaur. It was only about 2.5 feet long and only weighed about 1.5 pounds. It kind of looks like a rat or mouse. I think this is what the dinosaurs would have considered a rodent. This was a Fruitidens. The next letter in the alphabet is G, and a dinosaur whose name started with G was a Gravitholus. That means heavy dome because look at that thick skull on his head. He would use that to headbutt and bash other dinosaurs to fight for food. And these dinosaurs were very, very big, so I could imagine a headbutt from that guy would hurt. These dinosaurs used to live in what is now Alberta, Canada. That is a Gravitholus. The next letter in the alphabet is H, and a dinosaur who starts with H is a Hadrosaurus. A Hadrosaurus was about 25 feet tall. It had a duck-like beak and flat teeth to help it chew the plants that it liked to eat. And a Hadrosaurus is the official state dinosaur of New Jersey because it was first found in New Jersey. That is a Hadrosaurus. The next letter in the alphabet is I, and a dinosaur that started with an I was an iguanodon. An iguanodon was a large plant-eating dinosaur that was about 30 feet long. It had 4 legs that it usually walked on, but it also could just walk on its back 2 legs. Its front feet were actually known to be more hand-like because it had 5 fingers. 3 of them were like hooves of a cow or horse, but then it kind of also had a thumb like humans that was a large spike that it could use to defend itself and also pull vegetation for food. That's an iguanodon. The next letter in the alphabet is J, and a dinosaur that started with the letter J was a Yanentia. Now that's a very big dinosaur like the Brachiosaurus, but it has a couple of differences. One, it has very strong armor on its back to help protect it. And it also has a really large tail that it could use to balance on if it needed to stand on its back 2 legs to get really high up into trees to get food because it was a plant eater. That is a Yanentia. The next letter of the alphabet is K, and a dinosaur that started with the letter K was a Kentrosaurus. It has much longer hind legs than it does front legs and is very, very tall. Now look at the bony plates it has on the front of its back and then those big sharp spikes towards the end of its back. That is to help protect the Kentrosaurus from other dinosaurs. Could you imagine if you were another dinosaur and you got poked by one of those sharp spikes? Ouch! I wouldn't want to mess with that guy. The next letter in the alphabet is L, and a dinosaur that started with the letter L was a Leptoceratops. Now, Leptoceratops was about 6.5 feet long, but they weren't very tall. They walked on 4 legs, but they could stand on their back 2 legs to reach taller bushes and trees. They had a horned beak to help bite their food, and the Leptoceratops fossils have been found in parts of Wyoming in the United States and Alberta, Canada. The next letter in the alphabet is M, and a dinosaur that started with the letter M was Megalosaurus, the very first dinosaur ever discovered. It looked a lot like the Tyrannosaurus Rex. It could be up to 30 feet long and weigh up to 4,000 pounds. It had very strong back legs and very short front legs, but it had very sharp claws to grab food with and very sharp teeth to eat with. That was the Megalosaurus, the very first dinosaur ever discovered. The next letter is N, and a dinosaur that started with an N was a Nanosaurus. That means tiny lizard. A Nanosaurus, because of the length of its tail, was a little over 6 feet long, but it wasn't very tall and it didn't weigh very much. It was about the height and weight of a medium-sized dog. That's pretty small for a dinosaur. That was a Nanosaurus. The next letter is O, and a dinosaur that started with the letter O was an Uranosaurus. Now I think this guy's interesting because instead of having front legs, it almost looked like arms like a human. And he had 5 fingers and a spiked thumb. Like humans have 5 fingers. That's pretty interesting to me. And its sail on its back, it helped keep him warm when the sun would hit it, and a breeze would also help cool him off. That is an Uranosaurus. The next letter is P, and a dinosaur that started with the letter P was a Parasaurolophus. That's a tough one to say. Take a look at that crazy shaped head. he could actually blow air through it and make really loud noises to help communicate with his family. That's a unique feature. That is a Parasaurolophus. Say that 5 times fast. The next letter in the alphabet is Q, and a dinosaur that started with the letter Q was a Quantosaurus. A Quantosaurus was found not that long ago, only in 1999 was it discovered, and it was discovered in Australia. So then it was named after the Australian airline Qantas. It was very short, only about 3 feet tall and 6 feet long, and it was said to be a very fast runner. That is a Quantosaurus. The next letter in the alphabet is R, and a dinosaur that started with the letter R was a Rhinorex. Take a look at that big distinctive snout. That's how it got its name, because rhino means nose. So it looked like he had a pretty big nose, and that's why they called it a Rhinorex. The next letter in the alphabet is S, and a very popular dinosaur that started with an S was a Stegosaurus. The Stegosaurus is very recognizable because of the big plates that it had on its back and the spikes that it had on its tail. The spikes were probably used to help defend itself against other dinosaurs, and the plates, while it may have helped protect, they also might have helped regulate his body temperature like the other dinosaur we saw with the sail on its back. So that is a Stegosaurus. The next letter in the alphabet is T, and a dinosaur that started with the letter T was a Triceratops. A Triceratops means 3-horned face, but a Triceratops didn't use those horns to attack other animals. It only ate plants, but he could use those horns and that big collar around its neck to help protect it against other dinosaurs. That is a Triceratops. And because it's one of the most popular dinosaurs ever, let's talk about another dinosaur that started with the letter T, a Tyrannosaurus Rex. The T-Rex is known for being huge and ferocious with large, sharp teeth and little tiny arms. The T-Rex was the king of the dinosaurs, and Rex is actually Latin for king. The Tyrannosaurus Rex lived throughout what is now the western part of North America. It's interesting. It seems like a lot of the dinosaurs lived throughout the western part of North America. And let me go back a second. Speaking of the Triceratops, it was founded, the first fossils, near Denver, Colorado, which if you ever take a look at the mascot for the Colorado Rockies baseball team, it's a Triceratops. And that brings me to the next letter of the alphabet, which is U, and a dinosaur that started with the letter U was a Utahceratops. Yes, that was a real thing. Take a look at it. It's kind of like a Triceratops, but it has a much shorter horn on its nose and doesn't have the 2 large horns coming off the front of its head, little ones on the side of the head. And it's called a Utahceratops, so I'm not sure how well you know your geography, but I'm going to give you one guess as to where they lived. Yep, it's where Utah now is, in the western part of North America. Now the next letter is V, and a dinosaur that started with the letter V was a Velociraptor. A Velociraptor was not very tall, shorter than your typical average human adult, but they were very, very good hunters. They would hunt together with other velociraptors, and they have very long, sharp claws on their feet and big, sharp teeth and very powerful jaws. Let's just say they were good at getting what they wanted to eat. That is a velociraptor. The next letter in the alphabet is W, and a dinosaur that started with a W was a Wananasaurus. Very, very, very short dinosaur. He was pretty fast, so he could get away from bigger dinosaurs, but if he had to, take a look at that thick-looking skull of his there. Yeah, He would bash other dinosaurs with his head if he had to protect himself. Pretty smart thinking. If you can't get away, just use your head. That's a Wananasaurus. The next letter in the alphabet is X, and a dinosaur that started with the letter X was a Xenoceratops. Now we already know that ceratops means horned face, and Xenoceratops meant alien horned face. Alien? I guess they thought it looked so crazy and different that it's kind of like an alien. I don't think he was really from outer space like aliens, but I don't know. He's actually from Alberta, Canada. That's a Xenoceratops. The next letter in the alphabet is Y, and a dinosaur that started with the letter Y was a Eutyranus. Now, Eutyranus lived in what is now northeast China, and it looked like a T-Rex, but what was more interesting was that it actually had feathers. What? Maybe that helped keep it warm if it snowed in that area? Could you imagine a Tyrannosaurus Rex with fur or feathers? That's different. I've never seen one of those before. That was a Eutyranus. Now we have made it to the last letter in the alphabet, which is Z. Yay! A dinosaur that started with the letter Z was a Zephyrosaurus. A Zephyrosaurus was small and very fast. It had really large feet and a very strong tail to help it balance. A Zephyrosaurus would dig burrows underground sometimes to get away from larger, scary dinosaurs. That is a Zephyrosaurus. And that brings us to the end of our episode talking about all the different types of dinosaurs that started with all the letters of the alphabet. I hope you guys had a fun time because I know I did. And I can't wait to see you next time here on the Mr. Nick Show. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Mr. Nick, he's our pick. It's Mr. Nick. Yay!